Hi, I'm Gary Rowett, and you're listening to the world-famous Achtung Millwall.
You're listening to AchtungMillwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Bermondsey. Accept no substitute.
Those who know me know that I hate pre-season friendlies, dear listeners. I loathe them with a passion. There's only one man that would lure me to come to a pre-season friendly, and that's Aaron Paul, a good friend Aaron Paul from BBC Radio 5. And guess what? He's not here at the moment. So here's Ryan and I ahead of this pre-season friendly, Mill versus Hammarby. Ryan, international opposition tonight.
As you'll know, listeners, Nick loves a free lunch, and he's just put back a cheese and onion baguette, courtesy of Millwall Football Club, and he's now in the best seats in the house.
In the press box.
In the press box. He saved himself a tenner. That's his train fare. Well, mind you, not these days, it's all free, so, you know, it's all coming up trumps for old Nick Hart.
I've got a whole lifetime, listeners, ready for this moment. I've traded on my press pass that was on the door, which said Radio 5 Live. And Ryan and I at the moment are sitting in the BBC reserved seats in the press box with permission. And that don't get much better than that, does it? We are still waiting for Aaron Paul. I don't know where he is, somewhere in the midst of South London. But I thought we'd do a little prelim and just a kind of a midpoint and half-time and end of the game report on tonight's pre-season friendly. Interesting opposition, Ryan, Hammarby. I mean, I don't know huge amounts about the team. They're based in Stockholm, the Huski club, obviously.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will blame you for that. I think I was having a look before we came out, and it's they're about 15 games into their season, so they'll be match fit. They're fourth at the moment. They're a lot higher than I thought they were. They're above Malmo, which is probably the only team that anyone will know from Sweden. So they seem to be doing all right. It'll be interesting to see for Millwall playing a team that are in their season. I think their lineup is pretty much their second team. Yeah. But first team is on the bench, and it'll be a good test. Good to see some of the new signings as well. The two Leeds lads on the bench, Fleming in the flesh. I'm a bit annoyed that Bury's not in the squad. Hopefully he's not too big of an injury. But
that's right.
But yeah, it should be an interesting game. You know, better than Watford.
Better than Watford. We're just looking at the team sheets. Bartos at Bielkowski in goal. Danny McNamara. There's controversy over his... Or is it a controversy over his contract? I don't know. It's odd QPR making paltry sum bids for Danny Mac. We've got Murray Wallace, Sean Hutchinson, Jake Cooper. George Evans plays. He seems to be in favour at the moment.
Yeah, he's playing a lot during the pre-season, a lot more than I'd expect, and I think a lot of others would have. I think most people, especially with the signings we brought in, may be thinking that the end might be near for old Georgie Evans, but...
Harry's offered to take him to the airport to fly him home.
I don't think he needs flying, though. I think just leave him in the car park after an away match. But yeah, no, interesting to see him starting. I think maybe he's got a role to play this year. You never know.
Never know. Bennett Afobe in the goals so far this pre-season. Tom Bradshaw, little bit of an injury question mark over Tom Bradshaw, and then the wonder kid from Holland, Zian Fleming. I'm really looking forward to seeing something of him tonight now.
Yeah, the Bermondsey Bird Camp, is it? That Mike's brother is coined.
The Peckham Pulo.
There you go. But no, I'm excited. I think we were saying before, I don't think he gets a lot of touches. He's a bit of a quiet player. We were saying in that Palace friendly, great finish, but before that he wasn't really in it. But I don't think he's that sort of player. I think he'll be moments. So it'll be interesting to see maybe again an opposition that might suit him coming from Holland. Yeah. You know, it might be a game for him to...
Yeah, continental opponents.
Yeah, he might be a game to show him what he's all about, and just excited to see him in the flesh, obviously, for the first time.
Tonight's starting lineups complete with Scott Malone and George Honeyman, another player I'm interested to see. He's been a bundle of energy so far.
The fastest fan favourite in Millwall history, maybe?
Well, he's on course for it, apparently. There's a long substitutes bench. Jules Long, Ryan Sanford, two goalkeepers. Billy Mitchell, Charlie Cresswell, our new signing from Leeds, I believe. The wonderfully named Antarctic explorer named Jamie Shackleton. I love names like that, Ryan.
Yeah, let's just hope his Millwall career doesn't go down as badly as that.
Going out, he might be gone a long time. Ryan Leonard, Mason Bennett, George Saville, Isaac Alofe and Bezart Topoloy. Topoloj, do you know the pronunciation? Topolo?
No.
You don't? He's got a fucking degree in languages and he can't give me... didn't do Albanian at your school, did you?
Unfortunately not.
Bezart, BT, we'll call him BT. So it's all quiet, there's only one stand open, that's the West Stand, and Ryan and I are in the plumbest of plum seats in the press box awaiting Aaron. I don't know where he is at the moment, but we'll be checking in with the game at points of interest during tonight's proceedings. So we're just waiting for the two teams to come out at the moment. It's all quiet in the ground. It's sparsely populated in the West End, and the press box is not exactly bulging. So I thought I'd have a look at some notes I've made. Hammarby's an interesting club. Like a lot of continental clubs, it's actually comprised of a lot of sports sections, including ice hockey, obviously being Sweden, and a sport I've never heard of, which I had to look up, and it's a form of ice hockey. One of their big sections is called bandy, B-A-N-D-Y, and apparently it's ice hockey but played on a larger scale, on a larger pitch, like a frozen lake, I imagine. But they've got basketball, they've got, you name it, athletics, and of course football. As we await the entrance of the two teams, the Hammarby side are in the tunnel. But yeah, multi approach from a working class part of Stockholm, Ryan, apparently, Hammarby.
Are they the Swedish Millwall?
I think they see themselves as the Swedish San Pauli. I think that's that, which is always good when they come down Millwall.
It'll be interesting. Hopefully it's not too much of a clash of cultures for them. I'm intrigued.
There's no one here. They should be all right culture-wise.
I'll tell you what, they've brought a few. I've seen worse away crowds in the.
Actually, yeah, in the away end, there's about 20 or 30 people over there, I'd say.
It's not bad for summer holidays.
Trip to London, not too bad. Apparently Zlatan Ibrahimovic is a part owner of Hammarby, 25% owner of the club.
Fair enough. Well, I'm ashamed he hasn't turned up for the game. But,
well, he's not here, no. Neither's Aaron Paul at the moment, so he's trying to get him back to Man U.
Maybe they're in a car together somewhere along the Thames at the moment.
Here come the lines into the tunnel, so we should have the entrance of the two teams. Both teams united by the Huski chocolate sponsorship, which is an interesting linkage. You get a sense they've been prevailed upon slightly to come over at fairly short notice. Quite controversial for them, right? Yeah,
well, I was looking. They seem to do friendlies relatively regularly through the season. I imagine Huski have paid for the travel, paid for the
picking up the tab to get them over it.
It's not bad for them to link the two clubs. I mean, it's interesting to see. Obviously, you know, Huski are just a shirt sponsor at the end of the day, but it's interesting to see what influence they have over both of the clubs. You know, in terms of you see it a lot now with all, like, multi-club ownership.
You do?
And players move in between and things like that. So it'd be interesting to see if anything comes, if this could be an annual event.
Well, there was an interesting comment with Gary Rowett saying how he'd like to develop links between the two clubs. The fabled trip to Stockholm may yet come about, listeners. You want it, you may get it, I don't know.
It's not quite a Benidorm away trip that most people want, but...
Listen, beer and I dare say the pleasures of Stockholm to be had. There'll be a few to go over there. As you can probably gather, the two teams are out on the pitch. Hammarby wearing white and green, the Lions in this new dark blue version. Hummel, you were just saying off air, Ryan, you like the new away kits. You're not so keen on the home?
I like the home. It's just I think I set my expectations too high looking back at
you wanted Denmark
Hummel classics from the past. But you know, it's basic, but it's smart, it's tidy. But I'm the rumoured away kits that we've seen online, I'm sure. If they are what's going to come out, then I'll be very happy with those, I think.
Two teams doing a joint pre-match photographic. I imagine for Huski chocolate sponsorship purposes, shot there?
I imagine so.
As I say, we'll be joining the game in play, in or after any moments of note. And here is the man himself, Aaron Paul. He's joined us at last. Aaron's doing live updates on Radio London.
Yes.
Blimey.
Yes,
I'm sitting next to him.
Genuinely on the BBC.
All right, listeners, I'm going to trade a long time on the Radio 5 live press pass and the BBC reserved sticker on a bit of the press box. Just commenting on the casual nature of this dress of the Swedish manager. Continental styly, I think, Ryan. They all seem to dress in that way. In the Bundesliga in Germany, they always have a casual manager. But he looks like he'd get into a bar.
Oh, he's definitely, I can imagine him in a piazza somewhere.
Yeah.
Crisp white polo shirt, box fresh trainers.
Little break on the edge of the penalty area. This is Malone, just ball taken away from there. Gary Rowett, by contrast, looks like he's just come off the beach. He wouldn't get into the bar, would he?
He's very much the Brit abroad. Short shorts, bright top, deep tan,
football club shirt.
Pulled up socks.
10 minutes in, we've had an extensive break for injury for Jake Cooper and Other, the Swedish player. Ticking towards 20 minutes. It's been nicey so far. A couple of little moments where, there's a nice little tackle there on the Swedish player run. Otherwise, it looked quite bright, I think, pass and move.
Yeah, like I was saying, they're playing a bit quicker. They seem to be a bit more fluid and are trying to get the ball back to front a bit quicker, but along the ground, not necessarily lumping it forward. You can see what Raoult's trying to do.
Yeah, it's more movement based. We were just saying off when we weren't recording that he seems to favour players that will play in a number of positions, mostly utility type in that sense. They can go anywhere, do anything, can't they?
Yeah, I think it's we might have seen the end of wingers at the 10 for a little while under Raoult. You can tell from how he's shaping up the squad. He doesn't need them, or he doesn't fancy them. It's going to be all this season. It'll be Malone and McNamara or and others and understudy.
But based on movement, it's what we've seen so far. No chances worth the name so far, listeners. But it's been interesting to see it. We pass and move. We'll break forwards here. We'll stay with this whilst I've got the thing switched on. This is on the left side now. Hammarby coming towards our penalty area. Will they have a shot? They will. It's wide left. Ticking towards 21 minutes. It's 0-0. Not huge amounts to report, but interesting start to the game. Some early impressions. We're on 26, going towards 27 minutes, listeners. Early impressions. We've seen some nice touches. He hasn't given the ball away, Fleming, with obviously the wonder kid who was signed for 1.7 million, Ryan. But you made a good point. He hasn't made a mistake so far. He hasn't given the ball away, has he?
Yeah, and even as a attacking midfielder, you think he's not really had the chance to pull any strings passing-wise, but he seems to make the right option a lot, and he's had a couple good runs off the ball where players haven't really seen him or found him. But he's looking tidy. A couple nice flicks as well to link up with his teammates. So a good start. It'd be interesting to see. I was wondering before the game with you how much he gets on the ball. I think he's much more of a.
He'll come in and we may have to be patient.
Yeah, drag it, flit in and out of games, but he wants to get in the box and finish him off. But yeah,
always an asset. We have a lot of patience at the Den with players, so we have to deploy that. The other player, there was a break forward to 16s. Nice save there by Burkowski, 27 minutes. The other player that's impressed me so far with his action is Jules Honeyman. He's not stopped running. It's a friendly, but all action does seem to be the tag that goes well with him. He's not stopped going.
Yeah, definitely.
So far,
he's up and down, isn't he? And he had his chance there, a little header, just went past the post, but. Yeah, he's definitely getting up and down the pitch, and a couple tackles, couple fouls off the ball as well. So he's
in there. He's mixed. Yeah, he's in the mix. Passing the ball, we've also sprayed the ball wide from central positions a couple of times. George Evans, some nice touches and nice passes. That will go down badly with some of our pundits, but there we are. George Evans playing well so far. 28 minutes, listeners.
Vegan and very light.
Ryan's conforming to every stereotype that listeners have in their minds of him. Telling me about Walsall being the vegan capital of Europe, Ryan?
Yeah, well, we're just musing over. Bart made a brilliant save down to his left, and I was worrying about the day that his knees might not be up to it anymore.
And they just freeze up one day, like me. I'm 1 minute you're there, then next minute you're gone.
Yes, but I was ruminating on the fact that, I think he must be a bit of a health guy. Obviously, he was the poster boy for the launching the Turmeric Co partnership.
Yeah.
And Robert Lewandowski, his compatriot, is I think a famous vegan and looks after himself very well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bart might be something similar. So listeners, look forward to seeing Bart for years to come.
Absolutely.
You can have my guarantee.
I misheard what Ryan said. I thought he said Walsall. It's Warsaw.
Not quite. I don't think veganism's reached Walsall yet.
32 minutes, not huge amounts to report, as you can tell by the quality of the podcast so far, listeners. Jake Sanders, listeners, posed the question on Twitter with Charlie Cresswell, Jamie Shackleton, George Honeyman, Zian Fleming, and of course Bennett Afobe, all on board now at Millwall. He says it's a serious statement of intent. He asked the question, is it the best ever summertime business for Millwall? And ever, to quote Prince, forever is a mighty long time. I can't think of many close seasons, Ryan, where we've brought in such quality. I know we've spent some money to get it, but it's hard to think of any better summer times off the top of my head.
Yeah, the club are really going for it this summer. It looks like, spending a bit of money, taking a few risks. I think they know they're at a point where historically Millwall will now start dropping towards relegation.
Yeah, so they seem to want to press on, don't they?
They need to kick on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the proof's in the pudding. If they all flop, then this great. We had it with Harris with the big the big churn season there where we made 8 signings and we were supposed to be brilliant, and none of them really quite worked out.
No.
Murray Wallace, the standout there, but
he didn't come in as a name, did he?
Yeah.
So
it will be in the quality, but on paper it looks great. You might say this season we signed Saville and Jed Wallace permanently.
That was good business.
Despite not making a splash, the impact that they both had for that season, and Jed Wallace obviously longer than that could be considered the best. But so far, I don't think anyone's got anything to complain about. I think the statement of intent's there. Rowett said he wants 1, maybe 2 more. If that can be done, that's fine. We've got 2 loan players in. I think we can have, I think up to 4 or 5 in a match day squad. So realistically, we could have 1 or 2 more.
Talk of Dwight Gale. I don't know if that's realistic.
Yeah, I'd agree with a couple of people online where I'd much rather Ellis Sims, who's been mooted as a championship mover. I think Everton want rid of him as a young player who doesn't quite look like he's going to cut it at the Premier League at the moment. So that would be a nice signing. But yeah, 1 more striker, and I think you're laughing if a few of the youngsters can come through. Obviously, we're saying, they might have a couple of months to impress. Obviously, they can still go out on loan until November sort of time.
Yeah.
So if Rowett fancies giving them a month or 2, seeing what they can do, if Alafi has a few minutes and looks to be
hoping we'll see him tonight. He's on the bench. It'd be nice to see him.
Yeah.
Be nice to see him do well as well. Whether it's the best ever, listeners, well, as Ryan says, we've got the season looming. Time will tell. It's certainly up there with some of the best ones, but they've got to deliver. 38 coming towards 39 minutes, 0-0. Ryan, you've been impressed with the Hammarby number 6, Darian Bojanic, captain of the team. Some nice touches from the boy.
Yeah, he looks a very tidy midfielder. I think so far, out of the 2 number 6s on the field, I know which one I'd prefer. We're saying obviously Rowett's hoping that might be a bit of a relationship that we could build with Hammarby.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
If it means pinching some of their better players, then
we're all for
it.
We're all for it. He does look like a decent forward. I don't know him. Darjan Bojanic, captain of the team. Let's hope that's part of the reason for this Huski Derby, to have a little size up of any decent players on the Hammarby squad. Coming towards 44 minutes, it's 0-0. Not huge amounts to talk about. We've looked neat and tidy, without any real danger moments. I think a couple of looping headers, I remember, and a shot on goal.
Yeah, more shots for Hammarby, to be honest. They've had a couple go wide there.
Bart's got down, hasn't he? Yeah.
Bart's made a save. It's not the most succinct from Millwall, but obviously that's what we were saying beforehand. Hammarby are coming into it fit. They're during their season. Yeah. Millwall are still obviously finding their feet. Got a week or so until the season starts. So it's a good test. I think if Millwall can. It's been a
decent performance so far. I imagine we're going to see a second team in the second half, but so far so good for me. Late corner, 45 minutes. I don't know if they'll give an awful lot of extra time. There's an extensive injury break. There's Jake to put a looping header in there. It's half time, so no extra time in this friendly picture. There we are at the break. We're back with the second half as soon as possible.
Achtung, Millwall.
No One Likes Us Clothing is the clothing range designed by Millwall fans for Millwall fans. Caps, t-shirts, polos, they've got it all. Visit noonelikes.us.co.uk for the full range. Or if you're in Bermondsey on a match day, why not have a pint in the Blue Anchor pub and pick up a Nolu polo shirt, Nolu clothing at www.noonelikes.us.co.uk.
Their latest friendly against a Swedish side this evening, Aaron.
Andrew, evening. Welcome to deep South London, where Millwall are taking on Hammarby of Sweden in the Huski Chocolate Derby. I know we don't really talk about manufacturers and brands on the BBC, but you've got to give a shout out to Huski because they are a chocolate drink company that sponsored the shirts of both Millwall and Hammarby, and this fixture was only announced last week, so a quick time derby from the Swedish chocolate manufacturers to celebrate their affiliation.
Other chocolate companies are available.
Other chocolate companies are available. Other chocolate milkshake companies are available. Other chocolate beverage companies are available.
We haven't got time to list them all, though.
No, we haven't. I mean, I know what your favourite is, but anyway. 0-0 here between Millwall and Hammarby. I'll just run you through the Millwall Millwall lineup. It's a very strong lineup. Bartosz Białkowski, of course, in between the sticks. The back three of Murray Wallace, Jake Cooper and Sean Hutchinson. Danny McNamara and Scott Malone providing the defensive width. George Evans and George Honeyman in the middle. Honeyman, of course, a signing from Hull City. Zian Fleming just ahead of them in the number 10 role. The club record signing from Fortuna Sittard has been lively in this first half, and he's wearing the number 10 shirt to cap that off. He plays behind Benik Afobe and Tom Bradshaw. Millwall have looked good. They've looked good in the opening 20-25 minutes especially. They were zipping the ball about nicely. There was a real rhythm and an energy to their play. Hammarby have come back into things. They've probably had the best of the chances. Bartosz Białkowski making a good save from Gustav Ludvigsson, the big number 16 up front for Hammarby. It's been an interesting watch. Alongside me from the world famous Achtung Millwall podcast is Nick Hart. Nick, firstly, welcome back to the den after a couple of months out. What do you make of the new signings on show?
Well, so far so good. It's a typical pre-season friendly, isn't it? So, you know, all players are trying to get their match fitness, and that's really the purpose of it from our point of view. Very interested to see is Ian Fleming. Obviously, he's record signing for Millwall. Showed some nice touches so far. He's laid the ball off well. He seems to be an intelligent player. One or two looping headers on goal. I think Benik Afobe had an early chance. Otherwise, it's been a typical pre-season friendly, which played on a summer's evening. In fact, your listeners have put that in their mind. That's what we've got here. But so far, so good for me.
It's LAJ, isn't it? Life after Jed.
Life after Jed.
This is what we've got to kind of adjust ourselves to here at the Den. I think there was a lot of concern, wasn't there, from Millwall supporters on how the club will recruit. Look, we know John Berylson has put a lot of money into the football club. He backs them handsomely, and maybe things aren't always done how people would like them. In terms of the recruitment, it's not always done to everyone's satisfaction, but there seems to be a unanimous sort of feeling that Millwall have done well this summer.
Some good vibes around the Den. I mean, everyone that I speak to are optimistic going into the season, which is quite something in itself. Each of those players we've signed, I'm thinking of George Honeyman, I'm thinking of the Lone Boys from Leeds, Cresswell and Shackleton today, all seem to have good quality to them. So we seem to be building the ingredients for that mythical push on the top six. Certainly, I feel optimistic, which is, we're always wary of optimism. It's the hope that kills you, Aaron, isn't it? But yeah, why not? Let's indulge ourselves at once. Let's give ourselves a shot at the old optimism. I think we've got some good players assembled here. And, quality, money's been spent, and that's as you say, all comes back to Berylson in the end.
There are a lot of question marks around the future of Gary Rowett. At one point earlier in the summer, rumours from various outlets, which were of course quashed by yourself and me, that Gary Rowett would be leaving the Den. It seems as if he's being given the financial vote of confidence, a bit of financial backing from the owner, John Berylson. Is it now or never for Rowett? Because he's been given the resources now. It's his squad, very much his squad. This is it.
I don't know if I'd build it up to quite that level. I think Millwall and John Berylson combined are a club and an owner that value loyalty. Clearly, by our standards, we're going for it a little bit with some of these signings. I'm hoping that it's successful, but in the end, I think there's a great value in having continuity. And Gary Rowett's been there for 3 years now. Whether this is it, I don't know. It'd be nice to see some success this season. I personally want to see us build maybe something a little bit more long-term. It'd be nice to build a style of play, to see we'll become a team with a certain style of, what should we call it, personality or something, Everything I keep reading from Gary Rowett speaks of a project. Well, that kind of takes me away from this season being it. So I'm not sure I'd build it up to be this kind of crescendo now or never since. I think he's building something for longer term than that.
Andy, we're very, very fortunate here on BBC Radio London Sport because Nick is probably the number one Millwall podcaster out there. He does a lot of work for charity, for good causes. But the main thing is he never goes to friendlies. He has a point-back refusal. He does not go to friendlies. But as soon as the words BBC Radio London were mentioned, Nick was here.
Well, that's very kind of Nick. And,
Only one man could get me to a friendly, and his name is Aaron Paul. No,
well, he's very
I hate
persuasive.
friendly football. It is a contradiction in terms of me. I've been to one or two in my footballing life, and I wouldn't have been here tonight but for the one Aaron Paul. So yeah, thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Radio London, for the invite.
One Aaron Paul being my Spanish name.
Achtung, Millwall.
For the Lions is 15 Charlie Creswell and 20 Mason Bennett.
Well, as you can hear, Charlie Creswell's out there and Mason Bennett. Second half about to kick off. No longer working, but able to talk to me now is Mr. Aaron Paul. Not been a bad game. It's a typical pre-season friendly, Aaron, really, isn't it?
How would you know? You don't go to friendlies.
For this reason. I mean, not an awful lot of goalmouth action from the Millwall perspective. One or two
Millwall's
moments.
looked good though in terms of what
We have, yeah.
You know, energetic. Honeyman is doing Honeyman things.
Yeah.
You know, we're seeing the first touches of Charlie Creswell as well in a Millwall shirt as he sends the ball back to Big Bad Bart in between the sticks. Plenty to look forward to, I reckon.
I think so. We've had some nice touches. Obviously, we've got to see how the second half goes. Ian Fleming looks like he's pressing further forwards, perhaps, than we saw in the first half.
I liked him dropping deep.
He seemed to have a good touch on him. He's a big boy, and he seemed to take the ball and pass it well. We'll see. Obviously, great things expected of the.
He's got an engine on him, isn't he?
He's from the Ajax school, isn't he? So, we're expecting a lot out of him. I've already mentioned Ryan conformed with every stereotype that listeners have of him already with his talk of turmeric and veganism. And he's sat next to me watching women's football, listeners. With Millwall playing, he's destroying his real Wall reputation. What's the score? This is England versus Spain. 0-0.
Still 0-0. I mean, I don't think my Millwall reputation's in the highest of standards to start with in certain sections, so I'm happy to play to the stereotype as it goes. But, you know, I can double screen. I'm part of the modern generation. Like, I can operate on 2 or 3 screens these days.
Watching women's football at the Den, would you believe it, listeners? 64 minutes. We're looking a little bit... we're looking reasonably purposeful going forwards, I'd say, right?
We've got our sighting of Jamie Shackleton on the pitch.
Shackleton's out there.
Quite early. He looks lively. He's only been on the pitch 5 minutes, but it'll be interesting to see how he does.
Yeah. Creswell in midfield and...
Leonard on the right back.
Leonard's playing the right back. As I keep saying, it's a pre-season friendly, so you mustn't expect too much. We haven't had an awful lot of goalmouth action from the Millwall perspective, but we're looking like we will play with pace and movement, and I'm all for that. So,
well, they say starters you mean to go on. I think a 0-0 at home sounds about right for the
Railway ball.
So let's hope we get a bit of goalmouth action, like you say.
Mason Bennett's looking lively out there, in fairness.
Mason Bennett is looking good. He's done his classic taking players on and beating a few, which is always good. Let's just hope he lasts till the end.
Let's hope he stays out of injury. 66 minutes. 71 minutes. Bart called into action there. Close range action. Just looking at the replay. Ball in from the right, firing from close there. Good save, Ryan.
As we're saying, he's showing no signs of slowing down. That would be a save of the season highlight reel for me.
Yeah, that was good.
Close
Good
up,
save.
Rather than just hitting him as well, he got a hand to it. So very good save. 2 of them from Bart. So it's more as you've expected from the last few seasons, I imagine, from him. As Fleming attempts a bicycle kick, doesn't quite.
Zian Fleming going for the spectacular Cruyff-style mid-air volley. They hit the corner flag, but if they come off, they look brilliant. Otherwise, you look like it don't work out for you. The travelling Hammarby support listeners have woken up. That's not a bad turnout, really, from the Swedes.
What do you think, 40 or 50?
Ish, yeah. Obviously, there's been a response from the Millwall. All in the West Stand-Upper tonight. 75 minutes. The sounds of mirth, listeners. They've just announced on 78 minutes if it is a draw. A good death save there from Bart on 78 minutes. But if it's a draw at full time, they're going to go for a penalty shootout, Ryan. Can you imagine it, mate?
This truly is the Husky Chocolate Cup. I was saying, I hope the winners do get presented with a Husky bottle.
Absolutely. Let's do this more often, Millwall and Hammarby and Huski. Let's do it more often. I like the idea of a penalty shootout if it's a 0-0 draw.
It's a shame the club never tried to put together a Millwall versus Euro Ferries FC 11.
They were a bit short at start. Ticking towards the 90th minute, dear listeners. Not huge amounts to report on what we've said already. It's been a good workout, really, Ryan, I'd say. I mean, we've looked pretty mobile and fast. There it is. We now have penalty shootout to the excitement of that to go to. Pretty good performance overall by Millwall without any excitement in front of goal, really.
Yeah, just lacking that cutting edge, really, which obviously might be the worry this season. But you know, it's 90 minutes in the tank for some of them, and they've still got another friendly in Ipswich. I think Ipswich, we want to maybe start looking a bit sharper against Ipswich, obviously.
We need to carve chances out. We haven't really done that tonight.
Yeah, we're only getting really into half-chance areas. It's still not quite clear, obviously, what Rowett's strongest team is going to be. Yeah. Not quite sure what. And you know, that first day of the season against Stoke we've got.
It's going to be a big test. We'll see.
I'm not quite sure still who's going to line up on the pitch. Obviously, a couple of bankers, but hopefully this will help Rowett sort out his plans. But definitely would rather have some goals on Saturday. Otherwise, we're probably not in for the most exciting game.
Absolutely. So we've got the excitement of the penalty shootout. I love a penalty shootout, me, Aaron. I've always liked penalty shootouts.
Will you be commentating over it?
I might do.
Yeah, I mean, well, I've heard Mr. Byker now mention the Husky Trophy.
Is there a trophy? I don't know. There is. Okay.
It's a chocolate one.
A chocolate trophy. So I don't know if this was pre-planned or whether they just made this penalty shootout rule up as the game's gone into its final stages, where neither side was in truth looking like scoring a goal. But anyway, we have ourselves a penalty shootout. Both sides are in the centre circle. Shootout's going to take place at the away end in front of the travelling Hammarby support with their flag.
Yeah, we've got the flag out now.
They've got the flag out. It's going to be Hammarby to take the first. Number 13. Mads Finger Nilsson. There we go. It's 1-0 to Hammarby. Cresswell coming forwards. Okay.
Shout out to 75 Hammarby fans who made the trip from Stockholm.
Yeah, that's a fair turnout for them.
75 when I counted them earlier.
Fair play to them. Charlie Cresswell to take. Slams it bottom left. One each. Number 5 for Hammarby is Mohanad Jihaza. There we go. Slid with aplomb into the right-hand corner. 2-1 to Hammarby.
Isaac Calafé on 25. Is he sticking around this season?
$64,000 question. I mean, I didn't really see enough of him tonight to say yes, we've got to keep him. It'd be nice to see him prosper, but we haven't really, you know, if he's not going to do it now, he never will he?
Does he fancy spell down parlay?
Here he goes.
Oh, from Walker.
He's at the post.
It was a very well struck penalty.
Good penalty. Hit the post.
Yeah.
2-1 to Hammarby.
It's the halfway line off the post, so he hit it with some force.
Is that symbolic of his career at Millwall? I don't know.
I mean, Nick, he's still a young pup.
Yeah. Done well at Sutton, but no.
Got some injuries.
Yeah. There we go. Number 8 for Hammarby is Jeppe Andrup Andersen. 3-1 to Hammarby.
They can taste that trophy, Nick.
Those fans can smell it, can't they? They can feel it.
Oh, yes.
The Husky Cup.
I wonder how much, what percentage of the cup will be cocoa.
Number 8 is Ryan Leonard at number 18.
Protein edition. They are professional athletes.
Protein edition.
Hammarby goalkeeper doing this moving on the line business, like the Australian goalkeeper did in that playoff recently.
Quite the penalty, emphatic.
Which I hated, incidentally.
Emphatic from Ryan Leonard, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, 3-2. Number 22 for Hammarby is Joel Nilsson. Lovely, lovely singer, Nilsson. Here he goes. 4-2 to Hammarby. I think if this one goes astray, it's shootout over. This is it Saville going forwards.
I just wonder if Hammarby do wrap this up, if missed the buy for now, we'll have to warn everyone to tell them.
Contain your feeling, yeah, act like gentlemen. Yeah.
So you're ruining the club or something like that.
I imagine their away fans will be held back for good measure.
Here's Saville. 4-3. This to win it then for Hammarby. There we go. He did a Pirlo down the middle. That wins it for Hammarby.
There you go. Hammarby win the inaugural Huski
Cup.
Trophy, and their players sprint towards number. Well, they don't really care. But
no,
a good workout for Gary.
Good game, as Bruce Forsyth would have said. Good game, good game.
Is there going to be a trophy presentation?
I don't know.
Are they going to be spraying Husky around as well?
Achtung, Millwall.
A really good workout for your boys tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Hammarby, they're in the Swedish top flight. They're a good side. They're moving unconventional ways. They're halfway through their season, so of course they're far more match ready and match sharp than us. That was a really even game. They want to play possession football and they move you around in very good areas. They're a little bit unconventional. I think it's probably only really like a Swansea in our division that probably plays similarly. And there were moments first. I thought we started really bright first 10-15 minutes, created some good moments without really testing the keeper enough. But that's something we need to work on, and that's what pre-season's all about. And then, of course, they then frustrated by moving the ball, and a couple of times we got lulled into defending with that same tempo and intensity. But there were some really good bits. I thought second half, a little bit more energy, pressed a little bit higher. Thought we dominated most of the second half in terms of territory and in terms of the ball. Again, I'd just like us to be a little bit more penetrative with our passing, a little bit more incisive with some of the movement around the edge of the box. But again, we've got a little while to the season starts. We've got another game, and then we've got a free week, and they're the things we need to try to improve on.
Saw some of the new boys take to the surface here at the Den. Zian Fleming, everyone is expecting so much of. But how do you feel the squad is shaping up on a whole?
I think really good. I think we've still got one, maybe two little bits to fill in.
Any hints where?
Not really. No. I'm sure it's worth a try, but yeah, no. Because I'll have a few players in that position start panicking a little bit. So, but look, it's important that we have a strong squad. I think we've made very good signings so far, in my opinion. But it's all on paper, of course. You have to translate that into a championship season. But I think everyone can see how those players have fitted in, and little glimpses even tonight you can see how important some of those players could be. There's lots of energy in there, there's lots of youth, there's a little bit of zip about the way some of them move, and that's what we want. We want to try and increase our athleticism, increase the pace in our team. And it'll take a little bit of time to gel in certain instances, and that's what these games are for. You try little partnerships, you try maybe for 15 minutes to see what two players look like, and then it's up to me to take that on further against Ipswich, and then it's up to me to then pick the right side for Stoke. But we've got a good squad. I like the look of it. But we know we're in a tough division where lots of other squads are going to feel exactly the same way.
Well, it was a bit of a gut wrench at the back end of last season. At Bournemouth, there was hope going up until the last day, and obviously, look, people have left the club. Obviously, high-profile players left the club. How pleased are you with how the summer has gone following on from that? Because let's be fair, there was a lot of expectation, from the supporters about how the club, the board would react.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, John knew how important this summer would be with the likes of Jed going, and I think he was always very keen to tried to make sure we had the right tools to give us a chance this season. We weren't a million miles away last season where we're taking it down to the last game, so of course you have to then try and improve in a different way. Myself, Alex, Steve worked incredibly, and the staff worked incredibly hard so far to not only improve the squad, bring some very good players in, some players that perhaps one or two people would step back and say, well, surprised they got them. Millwall are certainly having a little push in terms of trying to strengthen their squad, which is what we want. We want the fans to be excited about what we're doing, and it's the signings that usually are an indication of how ambitious we want to be. But we've also, improved certain things around the training ground. We've also brought different members of staff in. So again, there's lots of change. There's lots of ways we're trying to move forward. And all I can say as a manager is I'm really pleased the way the club have embraced this summer. Now, again, a lot of work to do. And you only ever know when a season starts, but all you can do at the moment is judge it on what we've tried to do. And at the moment, I've been really, really pleased as a manager that we've tried to show a real level of improvement everywhere, really, at the club.
Last time we spoke, you said you needed a break, you needed a holiday. Are you well rested? You ready for the season?
Bloody hell, I had about 3. I could do with another one now.
Where'd you go?
I feel like I'm on holiday. Where did I go? No, I can't say that. I'll get judged. I hate people judging me.
How have you been before you went on holiday?
In the right job.
Exactly. So I should have gone to Cornwall, but the weather wasn't as nice as this, so I wouldn't go anywhere else if the weather was lovely. But yeah, it felt like I was in Dubai the other day, cycling home from the training ground. It was crazy, but yeah, look, I think everyone needs a little break. I think you need a breather with your family. For someone like me, I'm up and down the motorway. I'm away from my family most of the week, and I'm completely committed to the job. But you have to take a bit of time with them as well. But I'm refreshed. I'm ready to go. And I'm looking forward to the season.
We can't wait to see what you guys have got on offer this season. We're looking forward to it.
Brilliant.
Nice one. Thank you, Gary.
Fabulous.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Achtung, Millwall.